Well, it's another Monday night on Bees All Day. Here in the valley, we had a high temperature day of 94, and the humidity came back today with a vengeance. So it was rather warm and a little bit toasty. So I hope everybody had a great weekend and hope everybody's bees are doing well. Clay's in here, Roy's in here. Hey, Bill Lee, how are you? Jonathan from Old Glory is here. Randy, and I saw Pennsyltucky in here earlier. Yep, there he is. So, anybody getting their bees over the weekend? Hey, James, how are you? So we did our second round of Apigard over the weekend, and got all that done for the week. Third round will be this coming weekend, and 105 in California, 15% humidity. I like that number. That means it's not sticky like it was here today because it got rather toasty. So, how's everybody doing? They make it through the weekend all right? It was nice, beautiful weather this weekend. Yeah, Randy pulled supers. How many did you pull, Randy? Hey, Todd. So, what does everybody want to talk about tonight? No planned. Waiting for the temps to cool off and then finish that last 8 with formic. Yeah, there you go. How much were they full, Clay, when you pulled them? Or were they partials? Hey, Mike, how are you? Yeah, they were full. Okay, well that's good. At least they filled them up for you. All of them capped. That'd be a plus if they were. Partials left to pull. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So did anybody read the ABF article on the B Lab closing? I happened to see it and I read it, and some of it seemed like they were pretty misinformed on it. 1-to-1 and a few hives. Yeah. It's time to feed them. Light cert, Roy. Light cert. Less than a 1-to-1, and they'll build it. They'll build your comb. What I did a 35 this weekend. They didn't have any issues with the 30 when we opened them up and looked at them. They were almost completely gone. I had 2 hives that had one little strip about an inch long left on the card, and they were starting to peel the cards apart. So they were going to try to get them out of there. So 35 is what they got this weekend, and it's a little warmer this week than it was last week, but I figured they could handle the 35, and everybody is treated again for another week. So, yep, we're good to go. So I think the next one will probably be a 35 as well. And then that way, all I got left to do is actually I'll be done if I do another 35. So, yep, I'll be done. So what's for dinner tonight, Todd? 7 to 8 weeks out. Wow. From putting Abigard on? Chicken thighs, baked potato. Hey, that sounds like a good meal. We had steak and corn on the cob for dinner tonight. I had a good one. So I don't know if Charlie's going to get in here tonight. Misbehaving. Bees are bearding. Are they foragers or nurse bees? They could be a combination of all of the above. Iguana for dinner. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to drop the link. I had it in there. I'm sorry. That's my fault. Charlie reminded me. There it is. It's pinned to the top. Sorry about that, everybody. I'm running a little bit behind, so. There he is. There's Mr. Charlie.
Hey.
How are you tonight?
All right. The other chat, I forgot about it. It started at 7 o'clock at Lammas from down at the Beltsville. I missed it. They were doing question and answers when I got in there.
Yeah.
About what they're going to do, move it, what it amounts, what little bit I've found out or read or whatever. Beltsville has multiple laboratories.
Yep.
You know, I'll say there's the B lab, and then there's, let's say, and I think and I'm gonna go back to like my knowledge of what Sammy Ramsey told me. Like he had pictures, you know, of mites, you know, in huge, you know, big pictures, so you can really see. Well, the way he obtained that is that they have a laboratory that has electron microscopes.
Yep.
And stuff like that. Well, that's not part of the B lab, but all these different buildings on this campus work together. And now they want to put them here, there, and everywhere and scatter them. And it's like, you know, it's what do you call it? Dysfunctional type of situation here.
Yeah, they're moving them to different hubs. There's 5 different hubs in the country they're moving them to. But everybody thinks that they are closing the B lab and it's never going to open again. And that's wrong information that somebody's putting out.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I got that part of it. I think, you know, from what little bit, like I say, I gotta have to go back and review the recording. But it's not going to be as easy to maybe for us or for them to get information. You know, arrive at information. You know, let's say sending samples in.
Right.
And that kind of stuff.
Exactly. So they're going to move it to a hub somewhere that it's going to be in somebody else's backyard for a while now, instead of ours all the time. Which it was great having them here.
Well, what kind of gets me is you got the Georgia Bee lab, you have the Maryland lab, you have the Washington State lab. I think there's laboratories around the United States.
There is.
So, you know, why are we moving it out of our area?
It's just the way they do it. Hey, Nancy.
You know, it's just like BRAC, something realignment, barracks realignment, or whatever you want to call it, where they closed down the New Jersey Army base. They were moving it to Maryland in my county, Aberdeen.
Proving Ground.
And here, this area here, we got to build more schools and all this influx of people and all that. Well, guess what? It didn't happen.
Nope.
Because the people up there who could retire, retired. They all have their homes and their families up there in New Jersey. So then they said, okay, we're going to hire 5 or 6 buses every morning, and they, I'm talking charter buses,
Yep.
come to Maryland in the morning and they go back in the evening. And then some of them would come down and buy rent an apartment. Let's say they only got 2 years to go or something like that.
Yeah.
They'd come down, stay here on the weekdays, go home on the weekends.
Yeah.
And they built buildings down here in one of the towns in Aberdeen where Ripken and all of them grew up at, right outside of Aberdeen Proving Ground. And they were empty, multi-story buildings, just sitting there and sitting there and sitting there because nobody showed up like everybody thought. And finally, the one big building down there in Aberdeen, in our county, we have a main, right close to Bel Air, which is a central location, is our main hospital, which is relatively new. And then the original old Hartford Memorial Hospital, which was in Havre de Grace along the Susquehanna River, which is owned by all that, they shut that one down. So Aberdeen went to them and say, hey, y'all looking for a brand new modern building that's, more or less open walled on the inside? You might say gutted, you might say.
Yeah.
Come right here and you can make it whatever you want because it's never been made yet, and that's what they did.
Yep.
So, but, it's just like this realignment thing. They all have great ideas, but it's like, is it, they don't think it out. I'll put it to you that way.
No, they don't think a lot
government doesn't think about it in common sense and let's try to save money. Well, we got endless amounts of money coming in. Let's just spend it.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, I mean, the B Lab is nice and, for the most part, but
see, from what I gathered from the whole thing is if you go up to the B Lab, they had one section of the building. It was like a quarter of the first floor of one building. The other building and a half that was there was empty.
Well, I've been there. Me and Lloyd dropped packages off one year coming home.
Yeah.
And it's an old campus with a lot of old buildings.
Yep, it is. It's a very old campus.
And hey, Todd, thanks for the like on the baling video. I sent you something today. Like you say, we delivered. This is the B Lab. I'm like, this is the B Lab. Looks like a 2-car garage.
Yeah. Yep.
Where we dropped off the boxes of bees.
Yep.
And that kind of stuff. So it is what it is. We'll see what happens. That's all I can say.
Yeah. I mean, the perfect place for them to move would be the hub in North Carolina.
I don't know where is it located? Charlotte,
Raleigh. So
it all looks like everybody's treating right now.
Yep. Looks like everybody is treating right now.
I just did 4 rounds of OA. Before I use ApiGuard.
So we did 35 of ApiGuard over the weekend. I'll do 35 next weekend, and then I'm done with ApiGuard. I'll wait 2 weeks and do mite washes.
You're going to be 30 less than 100 grams is what you're figuring on?
No, I did the first round was 30.
Oh, okay.
It'll be 35, 35, 70, and 30 is 100.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've come up with. where knowing what I know now and knowing the temperature range 80 to 85, which is a safe temperature range for that product. You know, I did 25 the first time and then I did 30 the second week. Now, the way that schedule went is it followed the weather. The first week was 80 to 85. The second week was 90 degrees. I didn't do anything. The third week, I did a 30 gram, 80 to 85 degrees. The next week after that was 90 plus 90, 95 degrees. Didn't do anything. Then we had this past week of 70. Well, at 8 o'clock in the morning here, it was 65 degrees on my
yeah phone. Same here.
And the highs for the day was either 75, maybe 78 or 79 at the most for the next 4 to 5 days. Tuesday, I can remember I put it on Tuesday night. Tuesday during the daytime, I think it got up to high of 75 degrees.
Yeah.
If I'd have had the time that morning, I would have dropped it on then, but I did it in the evening around 7 o'clock in the evening, and I dropped 45 grams on. So that gives me an even 100. And there was no adverse reactions from the bees. There was no bearding, nothing. Everybody was in the hive, happy as all get out. The only thing that I was noticing was when I first originally put the chloroplast in, closed up my screen bottoms, took out all the front entrance reducers. There was only a few of them. Some of them I had already taken out. Then they seemed to beard. But then when I came back the next day to put the product on, that's when I also put in the 2-inch shim on top. Now, I definitely can get away with Vapor Guard if you got to make your own shims. An 1.5 inch shim is perfect. It can be for, I'm looking at multi-use product here. You can use it for Vapor Guard. You can use it for a sugar brick. You can use it for a pollen patty. Now, I got a lot of times on my inner covers, I put a little 3/8 rim around it to jack that up enough to where I can put pollen patties in and not sugar bricks, but the shims were really for sugar bricks.
Yeah.
And and pollen patties, I can put that underneath of an inner cover easily.
Yeah, and we had to combine a week hive this weekend. So we did that. I knocked them down to 1 deep. So I've got one hive that's got 3 deeps on it right now.
Really?
Yeah. But the hive that I put them on is going like gangbusters. There was no queen in there. I guess they killed her. I don't know. But there was no queen in there and no laying worker, no queen. So it had to be recent that they either swarmed or she left or they killed her. So I combined the hive and
didn't put one of your queens in there?
No. Wasn't enough.
Now, is that picture behind you there? Is that beginning of this year? Because those hives are grown.
Yeah, that's the beginning of this year. Yes.
Okay, because they are double deeps at least.
Yeah.
Oh no, actually, most of them were in Anel hives, I thought.
Yeah, this is the back 2 rows. What you see behind me. The Anels were in the front row.
Okay.
I got to get a different picture of the whole yard.
Nancy wants to know.
We have very few small hive beetle. Because if you noticed, if you look, all of my hives are sitting on stone. We have very few hive beetle and everything's in full sun. There's no shade in my yard. That's 21A. It's crush and run, DC. So when the hive beetle comes out and falls on it, They can't pupate. Bottles. Oh, what? Bottles? What? Beetles. Yeah, but they got to go to ground to pupate. The worms can't fly. If I do get in there and get worms, they got to go in the ground to pupate. Yeah, it cooks on the stone. You're right, DC. They cook on the stone.
Yeah, I get that same reaction from people that, well, what's his name down in Florida said that they crawled the hallway 25 feet and all that kind of stuff. I said, well, they didn't have birds, they didn't have sunlight, they didn't, you know. But I look at it this way: you break that life cycle, at least
Yep.
a
You're breaking a
percent,
life cycle. That's
at
right.
least, at least a percentage of it. I mean, there might be
Yes.
some to get by it, but that's why I put carpet underneath mine. Now these hives right behind me are my nuke area of the racks, and they're on blacktop.
Yeah.
And I got the 10 framers. I did look at one. I got one there's got, I seen a couple beetles, one beetle on one of my hives out there. You know, I need to replace the under or the carpet. It's getting old and rotten.
Yep.
You know, piled down for many years. Yeah. Put the fuzzy side down and put the backing up.
Yep.
I get it because it's free. You know, or I'll find somebody that's a carpet layer. Hey, you got any carpet, you know, 5-6 feet wide? Don't matter how long it is. You know,
Right.
I said, you know, I don't need a great big roll. I'm going to cut it up in basically 10-foot sections or something like that.
Yeah. So underneath of that stone is either like in the picture right over my right shoulder to you guys or left shoulder. That's clear plastic, but it's 10 mil plastic. And there's two lines that have the clear plastic, and the rest of them have black plastic of 8 mil plastic. So it works really well. And the board that's surrounding it is Trex board, Trex decking boards. So it's about 6 inches deep of stone.
Yeah.
So it works really well. I don't have to put the Grubex down. I don't have to put dimaceous earth down. The stone does the trick for me. So, and that's in the corner of one of my hay fields.
Yeah, and that would work for me because of the hive lifter. But other than that,
Well,
exactly.
if I take those boxes and turn them straight and slide them all the way to the back edge, I can use a hive lifter on them.
Yeah, you could.
So, but I've got them centered. So, yeah.
So let's see. Anyway, I put the 45 grams on. That was this past Tuesday. I went into them Saturday afternoon, and all the strong hives that had plenty of bees up in the top, those cards were licked clean. I had a couple of them that hives are not quite as populated, and they might have had, I call it dust. It's about the size of a 50-cent piece. And you take your hive tool and just kind of push it, and it kind of it'll lay up on top of a bar with a little bit of dust it is there. I don't think there's anything there. It's all dried up. I think it's the catalyst for the thymol and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's a good time it's a great time of year right now for the Apigard because the temperatures have been so cooperative here at this time in end of July and August. I mean, it's not been real hot. It's not been real humid. I mean, you can't ask for better temperatures right now.
Well, last week was a very unusual week for August. I'll have to say that much, I think. But now I'm going to ask you a question. In your past years, hey, Mike,
Anyway,
Hey,
you've dropped 50 grams of AprilGuard on, right, Bill?
yep.
And what was the temperature usually at that time?
Usually it's right around first part of August, and it ran anywhere from 80 to 95 degrees.
Had any absconding or anything?
Nope. Never had any issues. Now they would beard a little bit the first couple days. They would beard.
Well, let's say between 80 and 85. Was that a window of 80 to 85, let's say 4 to 5 days?
Sometimes when we put it on, it would be 80, 85 degrees, and that first 5 days it was in the 90s.
Well,
and we put it on.
No, I'm not following you there. Day one was 85, let's say 80 degrees. Was it day two 80 degrees and 85?
No.
And
It could vary. Even day one would vary year to year. I mean, some days
did you put it on by watching the weather temperature or by the date?
No, by date. We always treat it by date.
Oh. Well, me and Will were talking about it, and what I experienced at weather, temperature conditions versus the dosage and all that. I mean, next year, I have no problem dropping 35 grams on between 80 to 85 degrees. But I was wondering, it seemed like the bees did not react to this stuff at all. I mean, they had no problems with it. And I'm like, as long as it's below 90 degrees for the first 4 to 5 days, or let's say no higher than 85 degrees for the first 4 to 5 days, do you think that the bees would have any reaction to just putting 50 grams on?
I don't know if they would have reaction to just putting the 50 grams on. I think they've changed the formulation of it a little bit because they did come out with the new directions.
Right.
And they came out 2 years ago.
What changed on the directions?
They put in there the 77 degree thing. If it's above 77 degrees, 26 ml.
Okay. Did they get, I mean, like DC or somebody here said, well, they say you can put it on at 105 degrees. And I'm like, yeah, right, buddy.
It's listed. When they tested AprilGuard, they tested it, and the highest temperature they got to before it was detrimental to the bees was 104 degrees.
Okay, so it's more of this is the limit that they found. It isn't.
Yeah, that was the upper limit before it was detrimental to the bees.
It's not their quote recommendation, I guess.
Right. Not at 104 degrees is not their recommendation, but
all right, now
upper
Todd
limit.
Yeah. Todd says, I've not had good success with AprilGuard past 88 degrees, but that's in my area, which is in California.
Right. Every area could be different. It's just where I'm at. I've never had the issue of 50.
Well, your weather conditions are like mine.
Similar to yours, yeah. You might be a little more humid some days than I am because you're closer to the water.
Maybe. DC's ever used as OA.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he was talking about he was reading the literature on the side of the instructions.
Yeah.
What happened, Mike? Well, anyway, we were just sitting here, kicking the can around about, I wonder if we could get by with 50 grams, if it's 80 to 85. But I know that if I can do it over a 3-day or 3-week period,
Yeah.
or somewhere's in that area,
Yep.
that the bee, and that was another thing I did. Well, to put out what I'd done here recently, Saturday, I went out there. There's Mike back again.
I was trying to read the chats and my fingers hit too many buttons at once. I can't read the chat on my phone. It's just, I just can't do it very easily.
So anyway, I went out Saturday afternoon. I had a few of them, like I said, it had a little bit of dust, about that much, about that round.
Yeah.
And you take your hive tool like that and just kind of floats off, and it landed on a top bar. I'm like, yeah, all right, I'm done. Took that off.
We opened ours up this weekend, and I had 2 hives that had a little strip left on it about an inch long. It was dry, and they were starting to peel the cards apart.
Yeah, I had a couple of those. Yeah, they were taking the mylar off and all that stuff.
Pulling the mylar off and chewing on the cards. And
yeah. So anyway, it got to what I was getting at is I've taken all the cards off, taken all the 2-inch shims off, and put everybody back into normal configuration. And then I went through and I pulled the coroplast off, and then I looked at every one of them. Now that's been on there for about a month, and
now, Danny, higher humidity will make the treatments off gas faster and more severe. Lower humidity slows that off gassing down, and it gives you a more even off gas than a higher humidity does.
I think it's just like temperature, and I feel that bees react to humidity and temperature just like humans do. The higher humidity, if it's 80 degrees with high humidity, it feels like it's 100. And if it's 80 degrees with low humidity, it feels like, hey, this is no big deal. And it's comfortable. And I think that's how the bees react when it comes to humidity to Formic Pro, which is a gas, and this Apricard.
Yeah.
But so I pulled my boards out, and some of them, they all had trash on them. And I looked for Varroa mites. Some of them I couldn't find any Varroa mites on them. And then other ones, I'm like, it's like I tell people when I'm doing OA, where you have one that, there's a mite here. You're looking for them. You have to look for them, and you spot one here, spot one there. I'm like, all right, that hive's not in bad shape at all. But when you pull that board out after OA and it's covered with mites and it just jumps out at you, you don't have to look for it. They just are there.
Yeah,
on the
they're there.
board.
Yeah.
I kind of found like little teeny patches, like, maybe a size of a quarter. Oh, there's 4 or 5 mites right there. And then, well, you have to still look for them, but you could there was more frequency of them on certain there might have been a frequency of not a lot of them, but they were kind of pronounced there, that okay, there's 2 or 3 right there, and you could find them, and the other ones I couldn't find. So
yeah,
the only thing I can say about that is yes, Apricard does kill the mites, and I don't know the ones I didn't see much to, whether or not the bees just didn't have a lot of mites. I don't know. Maybe they're mostly in the brood. I mean, they've always told me, and I've often read that 80% of your mite load is underneath the brood cappings. So that's where Formic comes in. Formic is I call it a brood treatment, because it kills underneath the cappings as long as you put the double strips on.
Yeah, and Todd is right. Temperature, is the main factor in all of these treatments. But we also look at humidity, because humidity plays a factor in the off-gassing as well. So, it's higher humidity, higher temperature. It's going to flash. Lower temperature, lower humidity. You're going to get a more even off gas.
And Nancy,
what are you up to, Michael?
It's called a pepper board. Okay.
Yeah. What are you up to, Michael?
Long day at work. Found out my dishwasher decided to break on me, so I'm taking a break from fixing that. And
yeah,
you could actually fix it.
Yeah, it's an old enough model. The little forget what you call it. The spring, the little mechanical wheel that does the timing on it broke, so I've got to get online and do some part hunting. I'll see if I can find one that'll work for it. You never know how that's going to go, but
yeah,
I put a new one in. I couldn't believe the price.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting to see too.
So I watched your video today you sent me.
$900 for a new dishwasher. I couldn't believe it. Last time I bought one, it was $300 or $400.
Yeah, I'll find me a part and pay my wholesale price on it and just put it back together if I can. So
I got a bearing out of my dryer in here. I don't know whether I can fix it or not.
Oh, I redid everything in my dryer earlier this year, so that was fun.
All right, go ahead, Bill. Sorry.
So you saw the video I put up?
Yeah, I did. I saw it. I liked it.
Yeah, I've decided. I got home from work Saturday. The only time I was going to have to do it, and it was, I think, the heat index is like 110 out here. So I was out there at like 5 o'clock in that, trying to tear that hive apart, and I had another little mini meltdown and just started throwing stuff behind me and got everything swapped out and just done with it. So,
Todd's got an interesting name. What about Apricard? Anybody, and Will or Bill or it's like Apricard was tested. They didn't test how it affected the brood. And he's an opinion that it does get underneath the cappings, like formic gets under there. I know it's a fumigate. I know it's a paste. I know the bees either eat it or they track it through the hive and all that. But is it killing thoracic mites? Or is it killing underneath the cappings?
Before I knocked myself out of the chat earlier, I was trying to read comments. I think I saw somebody asking me a question, but I don't know what it was, and I can't go back and see it. So if I don't answer you, it's not because I'm not on purpose. It's because I can't see it. So I'll try to go back in the chat afterwards and find it and answer. So it was in there somewhere. I don't even remember who it was. I saw my name asking, and then that's about when I clicked myself out back on it.
Okay. Thymol was not designed to penetrate the cappings. Its mechanism is a vapor as well as a contact. Now, if you're going to use Apiguard, it is recommended that you keep it on for 21 days, which you've done and I'm doing 21 days to catch a brood cycle. The Apiguard treatment typically will last 2 weeks, followed by a second application for the same period of time, which gives you a month.
Well, it's 30 days. It's 250 gram things, but
right.
It ain't going to work that way around here.
Yes. So, Todd, yes, formic was designed to penetrate cappings. That's how it was designed. As long as you use 2 caches. 1 cache will not penetrate enough cappings to do any good. You have to use 2.
Well, it
states that in the directions.
Yeah, it's 2 within the cellophane pack.
Yes.
To the 2 pads.
Yes.
Versus what they were saying, you also could do the 1 pad. But I question, Sammy Ramsey told something about this on another interview, and when I had him in my club, That was one of the questions. And he said, yes. He said that he found that when you put both pads on, the 2-pad method, that's when it really penetrates the cappings. If you put the single pad on, where I think you put it on every 10 days or something like that.
Yeah, 10 days. Yep.
It does penetrate the capping some, but not as efficient as a 2-pad method.
Right.
And that kind of stuff. But Todd says, he says, I'm saying that the April growth was not monitored to
That's
affect.
true. That's a very true statement. It wasn't when it was designed and manufactured, it wasn't monitored to penetrate the cappings.
So they didn't make that test, but
they didn't do that test.
Yeah, so Todd believes, he thinks it does penetrate the cappings.
It may, to a point. It may very well.
I don't know. But I mean, like we were talking about over a 30-day period, the amount of product. I did treatment, 1 week treatment, next week no treatment because of heat, next week treatment, no treatment because of heat, and then another, the heavy dose and all that. So
James has a good point. Why didn't they put the humidity on the label? When they test pesticides or treatments, however you want to look at it, it's still a pesticide one way or the other. Hey, Keith. They don't record humidity.
Yeah. I've asked.
What Charlie and I are talking about is through our experience in using it.
Yeah.
The lower the humidity, the slower it off gases, the easier it is on the bees. And you get a more even discharge of the chemical or of the acid vapor.
Yeah. The main thing is I talked to the reps from what's it called? From Knoll.
Nod apiaries.
Nod apiary guy that was down at Nobby.
Yeah.
And they said humidity doesn't have an effect, that they've tested it in Florida where there's lots of humidity and all that kind of stuff. And that's their, what they've tested. And it's like, okay, but I still say that high humidity irritates the bees, I'll say.
Yeah.
And and I think humidity intensifies the gas or the acid gas that's in the hive. And that's my opinion. It's just what I've noticed. So we're outside, Michael. What are we doing?
I'm hearing rumbles, and actually the air's cooling off, and we actually might get some rain up here for the first time in many, many weeks.
Yeah.
So I might actually have to cut grass this coming month.
Yeah.
And my dogs aren't happy that I'm not in the yard playing with them.
So DC's question was,
hey guys.
So yes, when they test these chemicals to decide the upper and lower limits of it, it's in a laboratory controlled environment, and they come up with the upper limit, and because they're in that controlled environment, and they raise it slowly, and they time the off gassing and how fast it works and how fast it off gases. So that's how they get their upper limit temperature, because they only want it to off gas for so long, or they only want it to off gas so quickly. And Todd's statement here was no matter what we use for the mites, the strategy is all wrong. They should be targeting viruses instead of the mites. Well, they're targeting the mites so that the viruses don't get bad, but they need to come up with something to work to tamp the viruses down as well. A secondary
now,
treatment after the primary.
but if you notice, there has been talk amongst the YouTubers, I'll say, and people like Bob Benny and professionals, and they have noticed after apricot treatments that yes, the queen quits laying in that process, but then when she comes back, it seems like the bees really take off and are vibrant and really, with a lot of gusto. And some people have made the statements that they think the apricot kind of suppress or kills any viruses, let's say within the wax area. Whether that, nobody's did any kind of testing of this. This is just kind of like people's opinions. So we'll see. That was another thing I did notice. I didn't dig into my hives so much. One of the things why I would check the hives, I was checking for food resources to see whether they had food resources as far as nectar. And if I did see one hive that where the queen had laid, you could see the darn white dot eggs, but it was dry. That's where I put some Pro Sweet on to give them some boost and nectar. And I had cat brood in there and all. I didn't see any eggs. So I think, like they state, I think the product definitely shuts the queen down.
It slows her down. I will say that.
But I didn't dig intensively into those hives. I just kind of did a real quick scan, you might call it. And yeah. I was more interested whether they had food. If they pick a frame up and you had food on this corner half, and this corner half, and then there was an area for where she could lay. I'm like, okay, yeah. There's 4 to 6 inches of food over here and over here.
Yeah.
And everything in the middle is kind of opened up. Just leave her alone. And, I'm giving, the next treatment's going to be sometime in September. So, yeah. And that'll be formic.
Right.
By that time, everybody should be up and running. And I think there is a little flow coming in right now.
Yeah, there's a little bit of flow coming in right now.
Because I put 2 honey buckets out there that I wiped them out, but they had honey on the walls. And I never seen a cloud of bees. Like they were just like hungry. Where I had a few bees, yeah, okay, and then Saturdays when they finally must have got out there and I didn't see them. By the time I got back, everything was licked clean and all that stuff. So I don't know. I think there's some lanternfly honey coming in.
Like Todd said, formic will slow the queen down. That's all it's supposed to do. It's not supposed to kill a queen. If you're killing queens with Formic Pro, it's because you're putting it on at the wrong time of the year. Period. So you have to be careful with what you use.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would just watch Bees in the Weeds. I don't know what the guy's name is. I think it's Jason. I'm not sure, but he's he showed his mistakes and stuff. Last year, he put formic on, and he had entrance reducers on. And somebody commented, "Hey, you need to pull the entrance reducers out of there." And
or like Nancy says, you like a bird brain, you move her up.
Yeah. So this time he put half dose, 25 grams.
Yeah.
Now he said it did get up into the 90s. Now all the rest of his hives were fine, but one of them absconded or something. The bees are dead and maybe some of the other brood was hatching back out. And he had talked to Kent Williams about it and said that it just happened as far as he was concerned. And yeah, Todd's. I've heard the same statement where the ones that die under formic were the crappy queens to begin with.
Yeah.
And all that. I mean, I don't know. There was I know the guys who make formic talked about that, and they said, well, how often, what was your percentage of queen lossage before you ever used this product? 10%. How much is it now? 10%. So is it because of, old queens or whatever? I still say my safe zone for formic is 80 degrees or less with low humidity. And when I apply it, I don't do the one strip method. I put both strips on. And
mine's in the 70s.
If
it's higher than 75, 76 degrees, I won't put formic on.
And I will, I want a window, 4 to 5 day window there.
Yep.
And then I do the same thing with that. The key, I feel the key of it is to put it in the evening when it's sun's going down. So now you've got 12 hours of cooler weather, a slower off gassing. It's like Todd talked about the guy that he saw where he put formic in freezers, and he was a commercial guy, and they put it on the hives. I don't know what it was, totally frozen or just downright cold. So it slowed that off gassing. Of course, out there where Todd's at, it gets to 100 and some degrees.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. James says 77 degrees, 2 pads.
Yep, 2 pads. 77 or less, I put on 2 pads. So
where does it say that? It doesn't. It's not on.
It doesn't. Just from experience, that's what I use it in the spring and the fall, and I do watch the temperatures on the formic. So especially in the fall, because I don't want to lose a queen going in the fall. Because if it gets hot, I'll go out there and pull it off.
Yeah. So I don't know. Last several years I've been using it, and the last several years, right around Labor Day weekend, it usually drops down like a nice cool spell that we just had.
Yep.
For about 4 or 5 days, and by the 5th day, the main off gassing is over with, and all that. Now Mike here, he don't do a darn thing. He just lets them go.
Yeah, he lets them eat.
Yeah. Hey, man, I think I actually might get some rain. I'm going to have to go in a minute. I'm starting to see a bunch of lightning out in the distance in front of me.
Uh-oh.
So,
you stay on. If you get struck by lightning, we'll get a good show.
Well, yeah, so I'm leaning against a fence right in front of a real big pole in my backyard. So
there you go.
I'm watching it in the distance. I hope it comes over here and drops something.
Yeah, you never know. It might.
So how's your bees, Michael? I mean, I know that you got a hive. Did you put it together and populate it or whatever?
Yeah, I got a nail hive that Bill sent to try out, and I got rid of that evergreen one that I've been having all those issues with, and just kind of tossed it out of the way. And that was interesting.
What was that?
Sounded like somebody dropped a whole bunch of pipes out in the road. I don't know what it actually was though. Huh. Yeah, I took everything out of that green hive and put it in the nail. Of course, I had problems getting it out and things being glued together because the spacing, and it was the whole ordeal. But I eventually got it yanked out of there and kind of glanced at everything else, and everything else seems to be going good. It's been too hot for me to want to open anything up and look in there though. Just
so
like moving.
What were the problems you had getting them out of greenie?
So I had a deep and 2 mediums on it, and the top medium I was trying to pry it off, And of course, everything was given as I was prying. And I went all the way around breaking it free, and I could not get the top off. So I started prying harder. And it came up, but it was really heavy. And once I got it up and tilted it, I realized the queen excluder was glued or waxed to the frames and the box above it. And then there's 6 more mediums underneath it that were completely waxed and glued to the queen excluder. So I was lifting up 16 medium frames, trying to drag that thing out without even realizing it.
Now you say waxed. Are we talking about it? Are your frames? What do you call them? Where the bees draw them themselves, or do they actually have foundation?
I know. So in this, the thing was the gap between the top bar and the queen excluders.
Mm-hmm.
The hives are off in that green one too. So they built combs solid and connected everything with wax.
Or in between the top and bottom of the combs.
Yeah, that little bee space that would be between the top bar and the queen excluder, the bee space is off, so they filled it in. They completely waxed, built comb in it on both top and bottom. So when I lifted it up, I just basically ripped the whole thing into bits. I hope the queen went out of the way because I don't know. We'll see, if she got out of my way or not when I was doing it. So I lifted the whole thing up, and of course, I didn't have anywhere good to sit it because I wasn't expecting 6 frames to be hanging out of the bottom of it too. So I had it turned sideways on the ground, and I had to hold it up with my knee and my left arm. And then I was using my right hand to try to completely individually break each frame loose and stretch over and drop it back into another box without squishing any bees or queen. And it was like 110 outside while I was doing it. So that was a real fun time. I eventually
I get it that way in the springtime where, they glue well, not so much glue, but there will be bird comb in there. And then you have to break. When I pick the back box up like that, I kind of have to hold it. And there might be a couple frames that are stuck to the top, and I got to take my hive tool and break them. Yeah. But sound like to me, you had them glued so darn much that you couldn't even get them broke.
Yeah, I had to actually just grab the frame with my hand.
Have you been a while since you've been in there or what?
No, like all my other ones, I don't have that issue. The gapping, everything's right. This one, it was so much. Once I ripped it, I took my hand, I actually pulled down and ripped it off. And once I moved them over, I had to come back and scrape off a good 1/4 inch of wax off the top of every bar and the bottoms of all of them too, before I even put them back in the new ones. It was just a big old mess. Well, I never had one do that.
The purpose of latching those plastic hives together like that is so that they don't propolis the boxes together. That's why there's a propolis trap on top. They want to make propolis, they fill that propolis trap full.
Yeah, see the green one I took it out of, it's just we know I measured last time, the width is wrong, but the gap between the top bar and the top is off too. Mm-hmm. And then I stuck the queen excluder in and gave them something to anchor both the top and bottoms too, and it just turned into a big old mess. I have some of those exact same queen excluders on my wood hives, and I don't have any issues with them.
Right.
So, just annoying you. Every now and then you'll have a little patch you got to clean off. Just, the normal queen excluder thing.
Exactly.
Not like this. I mean, I had to peel and pry, and it was just a pain. All the pieces are still out in the yard. I'm hoping it rains on them and washes them off for me tonight. I'll go out there and pick them up tomorrow.
Yeah, I find that with the queen excluder, for what I have, my queen excluders are wooden bound, and it makes that extra little space in there.
Yep.
But they'll put some bird comb, on it here and there.
Yeah.
But not that much. I mean, it isn't like covered or anything like that. And
this was there was barely a gap between them for the bees to walk through. They were just the full width of the bars, solid. Oh, that's interesting. Looks like it's about to get blown away. That's a nice cool bird.
You're saying that the screening, the bars were actually just solid?
It was it was big enough that, if it was too small, they would propolis it. The gap was so big that they just basically were trying to build comb to lay in between it, almost like a burr comb.
Yeah.
but it was a nice solid where when I picked that medium up, just almost, the six middle frames out of the bottom just came ripping right out with it.
Okay.
And they were hanging in the air, and I flipped them on the side, and I had to take my other hand and like wiggle and pry and break them off. They didn't just come off. So I wasn't expecting that. So I didn't have anything laid out to hold anything up, or I didn't have my tool within reach or anything. It was just a pain. So I got them all out, got them cleaned up, got them all transferred to the nail, and modified that front so I could stick one of my little Boardman feeders in that I like messing with. And,
what are you doing with them things?
I like Boardman feeders. That's what I like using.
All they do is create Ravi.
So I run a small entrance, maybe 2 inches wide year round, and the rest of it's blocked off. And I put my entrance on the far end of my Boardman, so I generally don't have a robbing issue. My bees, they'll store away so fast, they'll become honey bound too quick because, my Russians will slow down in the summer. So when I start feeding, they'll put feed away too fast and run my queens out of room delay when they fire back up. So I use Boardman so I can see how fast they're taking it, and I can kind of control the rate. I won't go up there. I won't go out and fill them up every day. I might let them empty a jar and then skip a day or two, then give them another jar to try to regulate how fast they're slamming it in there. If I use any kind of a top feeder or frame feeders in them, they just pack it away so fast, my queens end up not having enough room to lay. Because like right now, I'm feeding them now to get them to fire back up. But like the one I pulled out, there's probably a few patches of brood. I mean, there might have been enough brood if you combined it to make a frame, maybe a full deep frame of brood, maybe a frame and a half. That's pretty typical for what mine do. Midsummer, they'll go all the way down to where they just won't make brood at all, and you think you're queenless. And then once you get a little food in, they fire back up.
So they shut down if they don't have nothing coming in.
But mine, I just can't feed them too fast, or they'll fill everything up too quick on me.
I got a package sent me here, and it's just been so busy I have not been able to really look at it and study it. A friend of mine I met at Nobby this past winter. They have a friend that they've invented a feeder. You can put a quart. It's for the top. It's for like a, on your migratory lid with a hole in the top. And you're able to, you can close it off when you don't have a quart jar in there. And you got a quart jar in there. I think the way I understand it, there's a lever or something there that you can use to regulate how much you can either, wide open. It's like a throttle, wide open or very small amount, depending what time of year or what part of the season you're in at. So I haven't looked into it yet. I was going to make a video about it.
Yeah. Since you modified that one entrance reducer, I'll send you another one.
Oh, okay.
To replace that one.
It worked pretty well. I just took a sharp box knife and trimmed it till it was really good and tight, and I put a couple screws in it. The heavy jar will try to pop it out if you're not careful.
Yeah, it will. Now they make a Boardman feeder for them.
Is it probably those ones of the yellow plastic?
Yep.
Caps.
It is.
And I might get really lucky. So before it rains on me, I'll tell y'all. So I don't remember if I was telling y'all in the normal chat or green room or what about Nobby, about some of the shipping rates and all that I was having to fight with.
Yep.
So
I see one Cayman's thing talking to what's his name.
Yeah. So I shot Chris an email about what I was looking at. He got back with me today. We kind of went back and forth a few times. So basically, since I haven't shipped stuff, so I didn't know exactly how they do it. He said he's going to send out, more detailed information to all the vendors. But I told him I'd tell you all tonight if I saw you. So as long as we have freight scheduled to deliver on Tuesday or Wednesday of that week, their team's going to accept it and move everything to where we don't have to pay any of the charges and all that other stuff I was worrying about.
Oh, cool.
So, and he said that as far as he knows at the moment, if you have certain ones you want, like if you want a pallet put in your booth, you don't have to pay for storage charges for it. They're going to take it right from the truck and put it in your booth.
Yep.
And then the ones you want stored, they're going to put it right in your storage spot.
Yep.
So that $15 for the entire show per space is the only charge you're going to get other than, your normal freight charge. You don't have to worry about the decorators, jacking up rates on you just to move it 100 feet.
That makes me feel a lot better.
But it has to be scheduled for delivery Tuesday or Wednesday. So if it comes in Monday or earlier, you got to deal with the decorator and all that other BS.
Yeah.
But anything
My
comes
freight's
in,
supposed to be there Wednesday.
okay. So yeah, you just do it and label it, booth numbers and all that good stuff and where you want it, and they're going to accept and handle it and take care of it. So
Did you get confirmed, Bill, that you got a spot and all that stuff?
Yes, I do. I don't have a booth number yet, but I do have a spot.
I watched Cayman's thing here whenever that was, and he was saying that I think the vendor slots are done or filled.
They're full. Yeah.
There's been a wait list for a while.
Yep.
Yeah. So
because I got an email back from Chris said, we don't have your booth number yet. As soon as we get your booth number, it'll be on your contract. You've been accepted. Your contract will be coming out here within the next 2 weeks. So as soon as you get your contract and booth number, fill out your electrical requirement and send it in so they can get you hooked up.
Yeah, that's something I'm doing tonight. I'm trying to figure out how I want my booth laid out so I can figure out how many pallets I'm going to ship, because if I don't have to pull a trailer, I'm not going to. So I'll ship everything out and go ahead and start doing pre-orders since I can have room to do that now. So get all that.
Yeah, I asked for an end cap, 20-foot wide, and 30-foot deep.
Yeah, well, I'm going to try to make the booth setup use some of the stuff I'm sending out, and then we'll just replenish the booth before or after the show as best we can.
Yeah,
it all depends on pre-orders. I've got like 3 or 4 other shows I'm doing this year, so I don't want to put all the pre-order up too early and clog up all the options on the website for picking up things. So I'll probably wait another month or so before I do that.
You're coming to Virginia, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm waiting to see if my wife wants to take off work and come with me. Neither one of us has been up to that part yet, so she might want to come along just to get out, see what it's like.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm gonna go up there and say Tom's thing. Yeah, I won't pull a trailer or anything. I'm just gonna pack whatever I can pack in the back of the truck. I don't want to necessarily pull a trailer that far.
That's about all you'll need.
Yeah.
That's about all you'll need.
So it's not bad. It's like 12 and a half hours. So if my wife's with me to make sure I stay awake, we'll just shoot it in one day and hop over there. So, I was doing it by myself. I make a lot of limited stuff.
Have you guys had any feedback about what EAS had as far as vendors or anybody who was there?
Nope. Not heard a word from our representative.
No.
What you mean your
our EAS representative? We've not heard a word from her.
Didn't you have somebody there that had extractors there or something? Your guy?
Yeah, my importer was there with the new line of extractors.
That's some neat looking lightning right there. All right, well, it's kicking up and the lightning's getting real close. I should probably not be standing around too much longer. Sorry. I didn't mean to get that close to the screen. Looking up the clouds. All right, yeah, I'm going to go. Whoever was shooting me a message in the chat, I'll hop on a little bit. Repost your question. I'll see it.
Yeah, that lightning's getting close. You better go, dude.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like right there. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.
We've seen that.
Yeah. All right, bye.
Yeah.
So, Nancy, to answer your question, yes, I'm going to have a table in there for Charlie to sign autographs, for you to sign autographs, for JW to sign autographs. So, yes, I'll have a table there for everybody to hang out.
And I'll have photo ops for myself.
Yep, photo ops at the table as well. So bring a good pen when you come.
Yeah.
And I'll probably have a wooden Hive box there for everybody to sign too. Yeah, we're crazy, Clay.
Oh my. So, all right. Well, anyway, but getting back to like say, as far as the mite treatments, very positive with Apricard. I like it. Actually,
Yes,
I
Charlie will
found it.
be handing
I found
out
it.
popcorn.
I found it very very easy, to be quite honest with you, as far as application goes. And because compared to, let's say, Apricard, I kept a can full of 3-inch long finishing nails, and you put the nail in and hang 4 strips. Well, then you come back in 6 weeks. The bees have got everything propolized. It's propolized so bad that you can't find the strip sometimes, and you got to break the propolis with the nail off, and then you got to. What I did was I just threw them in a bucket, and then I'd have to go back to the bucket at a later date and pull the nails out of them plastic strips and try to, kind of knock the wax off so I could reuse them and recycle them to use them next year. Yeah, $2. That's right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and that includes me signing a picture after you. No problem. And and all that stuff. And maybe that's a pretty good idea. I'll get some little small bags of popcorn.
Yeah. Unpopped popcorn.
Sawmills, Charlie's popcorn.
Unpopped popcorn.
Uh,
And I'll try to see if I can get some small bags of sunflower seeds.
There you go. So anyway, when it comes to Apricard, you have the card. When I first put them on there, I pre-dosed them on the tailgate and then just put them in there and closed them up. And then when I came back, I did take them out that first time on my hives because they were empty and it was going to be a week before I could get back in there. And then I pre-dosed them again and put them in. And then on the final dose, I didn't do that. I went back out there. I pulled my syringe up, let's say, with 45 grams. And what I found was, instead of trying to brush the bees off the card or smoke the bees off the card, if you'll set that tip of that syringe down there and start squirting and go back and forth like lines towards the bees, and that as that stuff's coming out, it kind of just pushed the bees moved out of the way. They were trying to get away from it and stuff like that. Now I'm pretty well drained, Time.
Charlie needs the money.
I need the money. I got so darn many damn bills here lately. Yeah, why not, Nancy? You could advertise the channel, whatever. Stickers or magnets.
Or business cards.
Yeah, I have business cards.
I got business cards too.
Actually, I like to have some of them cards as you had them emojis or whatever they things are on there. Emoji. Now, Cayman's buying the coffee.
Yeah, Cayman's buying coffee.
I don't even like coffee. So, but like I say, I just squirted it on back and forth and just kept moving forward with it, and with that line going across the card, and the bees just kind of moved out of the way, and I actually had the bees didn't. If you try to push them out of the way, they get kind of feisty and they want to fly up and, like you're attacking them. But doing it this way, they just kind of moved out of the way, and that was the end of it. Close the hive back up and you're done. There he
There's James
is.
Lee.
Peace,
How's it
brother.
going, guys? Can
Pretty
you hear me
good,
all right?
you?
All right. Doing some honey.
What are you
Yeah.
doing? Spinning honey?
Yep. Showing off the gun, so it's hot here. It's been, I don't know, the last week or so has been 90 or something. 90 and really humid, but the evenings have been cool, so I waited till this evening to finish up, trying not to get stung by the stragglers.
Yeah, now see here
There's
we
always
had.
that chance.
Yeah, let's see. You're in what, Michigan, right?
Yep.
You must have been in that area there. I think I seen it on the weather map where it was hot and humid, and in the mid of the mid area of the country where we were in the cool spell.
Yeah.
Right.
Week.
And they were likening it to the Amazon, I guess. So, okay, Michigan's the Amazon now. That's fine.
Well, you got them darn what is it? Them flies out there that eat you up around
Chiggers?
The black
Now-
flies.
the black flies. Is it? It's out there when you get close to the lakes and stuff.
We got mayflies, we got chiggers, we have horseflies. The chiggers are they're kind of like no seums. Like you can't see them, and they
Yeah, I've heard about them, but what's the mayflies? Are they?
mayflies don't really mess with humans, to my knowledge. They just, when they mate, they're swarming.
Yeah.
And it's good for the fish hatch. The fish love them. So if you got a mayfly hatch, you want to get out on the river for sure. Still too hot to be doing anything outside, and we chose bees. So
Yeah, but it's when it was hot here where we'd have a week worth of 90, 95 degree weather. I didn't do anything, and the bees don't want you in there anyway.
Right.
right, yeah. Well, thankfully, most of the major stuff I had to do was done. I had escapes on the colony, so it made it pretty easy. I still had to go out in the yard and get soaked for just a half hour's worth of work, but hey, could be worse.
Is your flow still on out there? I mean, here it is August. I mean, ours has been done for a month.
Our primary flow is winding down quite a bit. They are, when I was pulling honey yesterday off of a yard, and when I looked in on some of the boxes that still had foundation, the tops of the boxes were, bubbling, kind of pulling out, right? Like, how they build out that rainbow at the top of the colony once they're getting ready for winter. And they were starting to do that. And get that light out of here.
Yeah.
But we got aster, New England aster starting up. We have goldenrod on the horizon. We've got chicory. So they should have enough of a flow going on to backfill the brood nests. And most Michigan beekeepers want to harvest their honey by Labor Day, so they can backfill on the fall flow.
Yeah, well, see, around here, most of the time by the 4th of July, it's all over with.
Right.
Last year it went through July as far as the honey flow coming in. This year, I'd say by the end of June, we were done. Everything was just done and all that. So what size extractor you got, James?
24 frames, the Hilco one. I'll tell you what, this saber knife that John just started offering, this sucker is the cat's meow. It makes life a lot easier.
That knife there you're talking about?
Yep, it's the saber knife. It's like the bread knife uncapper.
Yeah, I use a Maxant honey plane.
James, it'll work good till it gets dull.
The saber from Hilco?
Yep, it'll work real good till it gets dull. Once it gets dull, it's not worth a darn.
Well, yeah, that's the problem with serrated knives, right?
Yep, it
Well,
is.
Yeah,
Just you have to find yourself a knife sharpener.
I got one. I got a file. But the
No,
time that
I'm
it
talking
saves, the
about
time
there's a
that it,
guy over here where he sharpens. He goes around.
oh yeah, yeah.
He sharpens ladies' scissors and all those types of professional or like professional culinary knives and stuff like that. And all.
Well, the time that it's saving me right now, I don't care that it was $30.
There you go.
Well,
It works, right?
what are you at? What's your amount of honey do you average per year? I mean, what do you think? What do you think you'll get this year?
Well, last year I pulled about 14 buckets. This year I'm already at 12, and I still got another yard to pull.
1,200 pounds.
Yeah, that's about 1,200.
Well, the 12 buckets that I got right now is 600, and then I got probably another 600-700 sitting in there. I'll probably do close to 1,500, and I did about 14 buckets last year, so 800 pounds, which for me, is it's plenty because I still have 3 from last year's harvest left to sell.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know I had 3 left though. I found them in the basement.
How many hives are you running with honey hives?
So I'd say the ones I did, I don't know, I'm averaging about 40 pounds, 42 pounds a colony right now.
Okay.
I move boxes around from time to time, right? So like I'll stack supers on top of another colony just to be more efficient with the skateboard. So you start to lose track of which colony produced what. But the first yard pulled 27 supers off of 11 colonies. Even the breeder yard was where I took a lot of colonies or bees and I started them in nukes, right? Overwintered colonies, fresh nuke setup, and even they made 3 to 4, or even they made about 1.5 supers per colony.
Mm-hmm.
Plus what they have for the winter nest. So up here we want to leave the hive. They recommend Michigan colonies should be like 125 pounds going into winter. I average about 80 to 90 pounds on my setups, and there's 3 medium 8s for the winter nest, and that usually is sufficient.
And so you don't fool with sugar water, right?
Nope, not. The only time I feed is in the spring with sugar cakes, and that's just because I get nervous.
Right.
But this year was good reason. Our winter was exceptionally long and cold. So
yeah, it was same here as far as cold weather. So now I know you're or you try to be treatment free. I'll say.
I haven't treated this year, not yet.
Okay. How have you been monitoring your hives and stuff?
Yeah. Yep. Definitely.
And
so
what have you seen?
I've only had one colony that was 20 mites in the count. And then the second highest was 12 mites. Everybody else has been less than 1% infestation.
So you're talking less than 1 mite.
Well, no, I'd say, the average has been like between 2, some are like 4 mites or 5 mites on the higher end for the low washes. So less than 1% would be, so 6 mites is 2%, 9 mites is 3%. and then 1% would be what is that?
3.
3 mites, yeah. So
Okay. So I know you've been trying to strive for VHS type of bee and all that. And do you feel that you're starting to, that's starting to come true, I'll say, as far as the bees doing that for you?
well, yeah, I'd say it's approachable on the hobbyist level. I think that even small scale beekeepers can select for mite resistance. Your trade off is going to be the labor you put into treatment should convert into monitoring. So you go from, treatment to monitoring or monitoring to treatment, vice versa, right? I just did a presentation I posted on the Sustainable Beekeepers channel and talked about the correlation between mite washes and high Harbo scores. So, there's a positive correlation with, 1%, 2%, and 3% mite washes and high VSH colonies. So you're still going to have or carry a mite load in a colony that's resistant. So resistance doesn't automatically equal 0 mites. The lower the threshold, the lower the wash, obviously, the better. But let's see. You guys want to go for a ride on the extractor?
uh,
I got a couple of foundationless frames in here, so I don't want to go full blast right away.
yeah. So you got your springs on your extractor?
Yeah, I like the springs. I mean, it's got some wobble as soon as you start it up, but once you get it up to speed, it's fine.
Well, now with that, when you're loading your extractor, like when I load mine I sit there and hold that frame in my hand and I judge it. If it's a heavy frame, I have 3, bar spokes, and I put all the heavy starting at the bar on both sides of the bar. And then I expand around the drum that way. And if I happen to have a light one, there's a connecting rod in the middle. It's like the middle position between the 2 rods. And I put that light comb in the middle there. And it seems, I can get it to where it balances quite well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do all that. I should, but I don't. But that's with the springs. That ain't bad. It's not dancing across the floor.
No.
And once I turn the speed up higher, and it gets to a full tilt, that wobble completely goes away. The springs are really nice addition for sure. I'm glad I made the purchase. And the uncapping tank is helpful too. That way you can drain off. That's the side effect with using the knife. You end up with a lot of comb that still has quite a bit of honey in the cappings, especially on the thicker frames, as opposed to just doing like a scratcher or something. But yeah, you end up with everything, messes everywhere.
I'm not laughing at you, but there's another Brad Cajun Homestead, some of his comments.
Yeah.
What did he say? I can't see him.
Well,
I asked him if he got a hive lifter, and I asked him when he bought it, he got it shipped in. It took him 2 weeks to ship it. I said, "Did you get hit with a tariff?" And he said, "No." He called Trump, and he let me slide. Told him us Cajuns needed a good break.
But it's a B3 like mine, and yeah, and he says it's a game changer. I said that's absolutely right.
It is. It is a game changer.
I mean, it has. You got to be able to get, if you got a telly lid on there, sometimes if you can't get up, if you're trying to lift the whole hive, there he goes.
I booted.
All right, you're back.
You're back.
Yeah. All right, James, I got a question for you from Roy here. He says
Okay.
you had the hive that had 20 mites. Did
Yeah.
you leave it? Did you leave it untreated, or did you do something about it?
Well, I left it untreated at the time that I did the wash because I was putting on a skateboard, marking queen, or ensuring that she was there because I'm tracking, the genetics. And then I will make a determination when I go back in a couple of weeks and look at the colony's mite count to determine if a treatment's going to be necessary. If that mite count hasn't gone down, then I probably will treat. My typical approach with colonies is 5% infestation or higher, so 15 mites or higher, is a trigger for me to treat. But the dilemma in this instance is that the particular colonies are in a yard where there's other resistant stock. And who knows? There's always a few key reasons why mite counts might go up. Maybe they're robbing another colony. Maybe there's a huge brood hatch, or they just requeened, and so there is no brood, so all the mites are out on the bees. So your washes are going to be affected by that. So that's always something you have to consider when doing a mite count. So I want to validate whether that's going up or they're able to bring it down in the next wash. But it's likely that colony's queen mother, from my records, don't think was resistant stock and didn't do a good job of keeping the mice down the previous year. So it's likely that she needs to be treated.
Right. And what do you use when you do treat?
So if I can, depending on temps, I would probably prefer that late in, getting close to September. I would want to do something like Formic Pro, if there's a lot of brood. But if I've got time, and I like hanging out with the bees at night, I'll do a series of OAV on that colony. We have very few options for integrated pest management or mechanical manipulations in the fall because we don't have time to get ahead of them for the winter bee development. So oxalic acid. Last year I used Formic Pro on a couple of colonies with mice that were in the 50s the first week of September. And, 2 pads, the temperatures were perfect, and those colonies survived. And probably some of the strongest looking colonies I've had. The problem that I've had with Apogard is that the primary issue is the smell never leaves the comb. It's terrible. And I think that it has an impact on the brood nest, the colony size in the spring. So it has a negative impact. You're saving them from the mites, but you're slowing their brood rearing down and shutting the queen down at a crucial moment during the development phase for northern beekeepers. So it's a lot of trade-offs when it comes to treating.
Yeah, that's where like Ian Stepler up there talked about, because of their compressed beekeeping season,
Right.
that
He's up against it
they
constantly.
they can count it by the weeks of brood rearing and whatever, and they're expecting their bees to be at a certain point at a certain time and all that stuff. They've got it really dialed in up there where Apogard is just not.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
It's not plausible for what they can do up there, what they need to do up there.
Yeah, Apogard. I think Apogard in the south, when the temps are right, the southernmost regions is probably going to be a helpful tool. But again, the residue and the synergistic interactions, like Bob Binney talks about, those are some of the trade-offs and things that you're going to have to contend with. And you're going to have to consider when you're making that decision of what you want to do to treat. So if you got time, a series of oxalic acid, like one treatment every 4 days for 5 treatments is very effective. And I've used that on extremely high mite colonies too. So, and right now our bees are somewhat broodless because we're entered into this, dearthy period where our flow is turning off and it's getting low. Ooh, small hive beetles. Bastards. Oh, 5 of them.
Hmm.
Does it count as a treatment? Does it count as a treatment when you pinch them?
Yeah.
That's a mechanical treatment.
You're right, it is. Oh man, there's a whole handful of these bastards. That's a side effect of using skateboards.
Yeah. Gives them a place to hide.
Yeah, and the bees can't really patrol, so.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul.
Ew, bee guts all over me. Yuck. Hope you like bee guts in your honey.
That puts a taste in it. Extra protein.
Yeah, I'm trying to get there's a little bit of drone brood on the bottom of the frame. Try to get that off of there.
You know, that was something that I noticed in one of my hives is quite strong. I had that 2-inch shim on there, and there was, you know, gobs of bees up on the top of the bars, and they actually they drawed comb out 2.5 inches tall, several rows of it on top of the bars to the inner cover, and that 2-inch shim, and then they filled it full of honey. And I'm like,
they'll do that.
well, what I'm getting at is all right, you know, I'm looking at the nectar dearth. I'm like, this time of year, I don't think they would have enough energy or wanting to do that, you know. Now the rest of the
Well,
hives
they'll do it
didn't
if there's a violation of bee space. They'll do it.
well, there's a violation of bee space, but only the one hive out of all 8, you know, whatever I treated, 15 of them did it, you know. But I was just wondering whether or not that was because
Is nectar coming in?
nectar coming in, and they had the energy to be able to make wax and stuff like that. So, but anyway, I scraped that off and I threw it out in front of the hive so they would
Rob it.
you know, rob it out. But you know, even when I threw it out there and the bees were flying, they didn't seem to be all that interested in it.
Well, then that means that they had other things to be worried about.
Well, I mean, I'm that's where I'm kind of like, you know, there must be a little bit of a flow somewhere, you know, and there wasn't, you know, I've left a few hives open while I was walking back and forth and doing different things to kind of put things away. And I didn't see a real robin issue like I did back in July when I was pulling honey. So maybe that's because there's just so much honey out there that we're so crazy. So,
It's because they're sweet sawmill Charlie bees.
yeah, well, they ain't too sweet. They like to sting the hell out of you sometimes.
Gotta call those bastards.
I got one hive that I went out there after these treatments with Apricard, and they seemed to be quite calm. And they had this one hive that I think was the one with the comb in there. They were the only ones that they didn't come up into my face, but they were around me, you know. They were like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You know? But
I mean it's this time of year right now too. It's not just
yeah. And I
all
smoked I did that one. I did smoke a little bit.
Snoop Dogg bees, huh?
Huh?
Snoop Dogg bees. They like a little hit of the ganj.
I guess. I'll tell you, I'll be glad when that guy I see he's got videos up. He's going to be at Nobby, and I wasn't quite sure when, you know, they were saying about, you know, disclosure forms. I understood all that, but I like to see him get that smoke gun developed. I'd buy one. Just pull the trigger and blow it on there when I need it. I don't really use that much smoke to begin with. Most of the time I can't keep my smoker lit anyway. So that's why I've gotten so used to just working bees with no smoke.
Well,
Yeah.
you got to be able to do that if you want to get your master beekeeper certificate. You got to keep the smoker lit.
I ain't
You know how I
worried
keep
about.
mine going?
I don't
Blowtorch.
really. Well, I got a blowtorch too. I light it every all so often. But by the time I get done, that's when the smoker finally stays lit.
Yeah, he's getting to the
Yeah.
bottom of the barrel. Won't go out. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, when it comes to master beekeeper, and I don't need to be paper certified. You know, James, I am a master beekeeper. I'm a STHO master beekeeper.
What is that, Charlie?
Self-taught, hands-on master beekeeper.
Yeah.
And I've been certified by the College of Hard Knocks.
I agree. Anybody wants to question your methods, just tell them to come work some bees with you.
Exactly.
That's what I tell them. If you want to see some sick and weak treatment-free bees, don't come here.
Want to keep what was the first part of the treatment-free bees?
I said if you want to see some sick and weak treatment-free bees, don't come here. I got too many bees, and they're not sick or weak.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I try to keep my bees as healthy as possible and keep them strong, and I think a lot of it is. I mean, this year, I think a lot of it's queens and keeping young queens in there. The knowledge I've learned here in the last 2 years dealing with queens and listening to some of the experts as far as the science people.
Queens are a big deal.
Huh?
Got to have good queens. Definitely can't just have, snot. If you start out with, stuff that, you just got off of, this, that, or the other, that's fine. But you should be working on raising your own stuff.
Well, I've been doing that this year. I got back into that with Bill's help, learning how to set up the cell builder correctly. I knew how to graph. Kent Williams taught me how to do that years ago. So I was averaging 15, 20 queen virgins a week being hatched out.
Yeah, I think you did a video. I saw that. You had a good round. I'm about to mail it in for the last part of my season. I couldn't get a good round to save my life.
But getting them mated is my next hurdle.
Yep. It's tricky.
As far as making sure that the mating boxes stay populated, which I think that has a big determination of whether the queen goes out and gets mated and gets back. And I don't know. I've been talking with Mark Miller, how he does it, and other things like I have it on a rack where they're all facing one direction, and maybe I need to go and get my pallets and put them on multiple pallets. Let's say like Brad up in Manitoba, where they puts them in I'll call it a circle.
Yeah.
And they're going all different directions as far as the entrances. Yep. Maybe that has a a positive outlook towards getting them mated and getting them flied back, and that kind of stuff. A blind experimentalist? Oh, I don't know. I have to say, Paul, that beekeeping is, like I tell everybody, is a science experiment that never quits.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
Part of the draw.
What you say, Jane?
That's part of the allure.
Yeah.
I think it is. I mean, if you like to learn all the time and figure things out and all that, to me, that's some of the fun part of beekeeping.
And be poor.
You know, and then if you take, let's say, let's say you take a queen, let's say a virgin, and you put her in a nuke box and with bees, and you get them, she comes back and she gets mated, and you can see her grow, and then you can help
Exciting,
stack,
yeah.
you know, start stacking boxes on that nuke to grow her bigger and bigger. To me, that's sort of self gratification. Hey, that's my queen. You know, look what has, you know, how good she is or whatever, and that kind
Yep.
of stuff. I think the main thing for me is the way I manage my honey crop with the Demery method. I've come to the conclusion I need to requeen on a yearly basis because I wear them girls out.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
she just lays up a storm the first year, and then the next year she's just about half wore out. And which actually that's what the science say. They say 40%. Well, probably after they get done with me in my management practice, I guarantee they're 50 or 60%.
More than that.
You know. So
Well,
you know,
if you think about it, where Brad's at, where Bob Benny's at, those queens get pushed hard for 10, 11 months out of the year.
well, Brad's down there. His bees or his queens lay 12 months out of the year.
Yeah.
And he requeens every fall. Now his fall is our kind of half winter. You know, fall for him is December or something like that, I think. And so anyway, you know, he was telling us here a while back that, you know, by the next, if he let that queen go, by the middle of honey season of the next year, she's dead.
Yep.
Really?
And yeah. Whereas he requeens that queen, let's say September, October, which is still 70 some degrees down there, if not hotter. And she gets them requeened, and then she's good to go for the next year and all that. So
I don't, Charlie. Do you have a membership to the SPGMI website?
I thought I do. I thought I still have it. You gave me that membership card last year.
Okay, so if it should still be active then. If it's not, you let me know. But we're doing a promotion right now. There's actually a good video that talks about the longevity of queens and their life cycles and egg laying and, you know, a production scenario. And it was done with Katie Lee, the PhD from University of Minnesota. And it's not freely available on the YouTube. It's just available for our members. But if you want a membership, there's free memberships right now. If you go sign up at sbgmi.org, the coupon code, once you put the individual membership in the coupon box, is join the fight. Right? Get it? We're fighting Varroa. Yay. But the video can be found in the members section, and you should check it out. It's a really good video that kind of talks about something similar what you're discussing, and how they were kind of wearing down.
Yeah.
I think
I think you sent me, or, you know, automatically sent me a notice that you were going to have something, and I don't know. I might have been working or whatever at the time. I just didn't get there. All right. So the coupon is join the fight.
Yeah, join the fight's the coupon.
So
and that'll zero out the membership fee for the first year.
Yeah, you gave me a coupon thing at Nobby, I guess it was.
Yeah, if you didn't use it, it's probably expired.
I used it.
Then you should still have a membership. Should be good.
But
should be good.
Yeah, I mean, you like I say, I like that one program. I think I was available. It was alive. It was a queen breeder, some queen breeder up your way.
Trevor Botton
And
in Minnesota or Wisconsin.
it might some guy, and I was asking him. That was why I was, getting ready to do queen ring this year. I was asking about, marking virgins, whether that was any detrimental as far as getting returns. And
Right.
I forget maybe one or two other questions and stuff and everything. He said
All
it
right,
wasn't.
we're going to crank her up to 60. Get the last few bits out here. Hopefully,
All
I
right,
don't blow out a frame.
let me see the wiggle on that at 60 RPMs.
Watch, we'll get a blowout camera here. That's at full speed. You can see the action on the springs.
It's hold it still there because you're timing
Video
it.
is freezing.
Yeah, there it goes.
I don't know if you can see the red LED on the camera.
Yeah, I see it. It's Paul, I think it's a 12. You say it was a 12 frame, 20?
This is a
20.
24 frame extractor, the max. And I've got I guess I have the 30 frame uncapping tank, but I should have got the 40 because I'm bottlenecking myself. So I can only really do 16 frames comfortably, maybe 20.
Yeah, I don't know. I like I say, weigh mine out, and I get them pretty darn close. I got my extractor on top of a pallet, so I can get a bucket underneath of it, and it works. It's been working.
Yeah.
My daughter got stung in her cheek today because I got bees floating around the yard because of all the honey that's sitting inside the garage here, the makeshift honey house, if you will.
Right.
Poor kid. He wasn't even doing nothing. He was just sitting there, and the bee decided to pick bones with her.
How old is she?
Oh, don't ask me that. There's 5 of them. I think she's 10.
Oh, okay. I didn't know whether she was a little kid or not.
Yeah, she's little. She did okay. She has her mom's a good paramedic.
See you, Nancy.
Night,
Bye, Nancy. Thanks for coming. You guys were talking about tariffs earlier. We brought in the pin test from one of our video presentations out of Germany. Really neat tool, and I don't know that it was a tariff per se, but I had to pay duty fees on the importation. That was annoying.
On a video?
No, it was a box of pin test tools for testing hygiene. And so, it was about 35 tips. And they placed the duty based on the value of the product. I think I might actually get done tonight if I stick with it. Get all these frames out of here so the bees stop hovering around looking for somebody's face to sting. Are you all done with honey extraction, Charlie?
Oh yeah.
Bill?
Yeah, I've been done.
Yep.
Man,
Yeah, I
I'm
got
jealous.
hey Bracken. I got 855 pounds, which was
Excellent.
about 100 and 45 pounds shy. I got 1,000 pounds last year, but weather conditions and everything didn't do well for me. Well, for me or anybody else. And it had some rain and stuff. I was happy for what I got. I'll put it to you that way.
Yeah, I've been reading some reports about rather stiffing a lot of guys out that way. We did pretty good. I'd say for all intents and purposes, since I've started beekeeping, we had a warmer spring this year than usual. Then it got cold and put the damper on things. But the bees, because it was cold during the time that a lot of colonies were requeening, wound up with a pretty good brood break. So that's definitely going to impact mite numbers as well. And a lot of beekeepers in the area are reporting low mite counts.
Yeah. So, Bill, you say you're teaching August the 16th. That's this Saturday.
That's next Saturday.
The day's the 11th.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Next Saturday. This coming Saturday.
This coming Saturday. I thought you were coming in this coming Saturday.
Plans have changed. I forgot I had the class. So
what are you teaching?
Probably Monday.
So you're figuring on Monday?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, Tuesday. I got a VDAX inspection Monday.
Okay.
I got to be there for it.
All right. Well, that's cool. All right. No problem.
Well, everybody, it's almost 10 o'clock. I don't know how many of you saw my chat post tonight. 201 more subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. If you like the chat tonight, hit the like button. Keeps us all hanging around a little bit longer. I'm shooting for 500 subscribers by the end of December. So if you haven't subscribed, tell your friends, get them on here and get them to subscribe. So Tom will be on tomorrow night at 7 with Nancy. And Charlie is on Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And I'll be joining him. So y'all have a good week and be careful. Good luck, James, on the rest of your hunting.
Thanks. See you guys.
Good night, everybody.